Hi there. So today we're going to start in standing, and you need a ball, a resistance band, and then something to stand on. So I've got 2 spongy yoga blocks. You could use a yoga brick, kind of a book, kind of anything that you can stand on moderately stably. Now I'm going to get to start out, and we're just going to do a little test and see how it goes for you. I just want you to take one foot directly in front of the other. So it's like you're standing on a tightrope or standing on a beam. Just kind of check in. Can you get the weight moderately even, right front and back foot? What does balance feel like? And then you step back to parallel and then switch. So you're gonna put the opposite foot in front into straightish legs, trying to figure out weight even in both feet, just noticing how balance feels. And you're gonna go back, parallel feet and pelvis width apart, standing comfortably, and you're gonna have your ball. You're gonna have your ball in your hand, and you're just gonna start tossing the ball. So straight up, straight down. You can catch with one hand, you can catch with both hands. Don't feel like you have to stay still. You can definitely move a little bit. You get really good at, tossing maybe with your dominant hand. You try non-dominant hand. I'm just gonna practice this a little bit. Just tracking the ball. You're breathing quietly through the nose if you can. Lips closed. Maybe think about how often you play catch. Probably, many of us, not very often. It's good for reflexes, good for hand-eye coordination, and actually can be helpful for your balance. And just up and down. And you're gonna stop. Pause for a moment. First of all, notice that your breathing is probably a little bit elevated. So maybe a little bit like cardio. And then just try that balance again. So a little inline standing. And just notice if there's a change. And there might be and there might not be. Everybody's a little different. Go back to parallel and then you switch. Inline balancing. Noticing if there's any difference just from tossing the ball. And another nice little side effect or side benefit of throwing the ball is its mindfulness. It's really hard to kind of worry about other things when you're just tossing a ball around. So it can be a nice practice. Now you're going to take the ball, you're just going to set it down on the floor in front of you. And I'm going to get you to have a look at your feet. See if you can take all of your toes up off the floor. So weight is even in both feet. Balls of the feet are on the floor, just the toes are lifted. And you're gonna put your big toes down. See if you can lift your little toes up. You're spreading the little toes. And then you're gonna switch. Little toes down, big toes up. Just notice if there's a difference, if one way is easier than the other. You're gonna set those down. Now I'm gonna get you to walk on the outside edges of your feet. Just might feel a little weird. Of course, we're always interested in maybe in pain for your range of motion. This is gonna change your balance. You're gonna be aware of that. And then you're gonna go big toe side of the foot. And it's interesting to observe when you shift to big toe side of the foot, if your shoulders change. Something to notice the connection between what your feet are doing and what your hands and shoulders are doing. Now go on your heels. And walking on your heels may be not delightful if you're on a hard surface. If you're on tile or hardwood, it can be kind of uncomfortable. Just walking a little bit on your heels and then walking on your toes. Sometimes, usually on your tiptoes is sort of maybe the easiest, simply because that might be a shape we use more. You're gonna go back to flat feet. Now you're gonna take the ball of your foot and put it on your ball. So depending on how firm the ball is and how big the ball is, becomes a little bit of a calf stretch. You're going to start by scrunching and lifting the toes. And then you're just going to a little bit side to side. So we might call smearing the foot side to side. Forward a little bit, a little side to side, getting into your arch. And just before your heel, so kind of where the arch turns into your heel. And now forward and back. So just like you're trying to vacuum the sole of your foot. You step off, just stand for a moment, notice the difference in the foot that you were rolling compared to the foot that you were not. Kind of observe the circulation there, and then we'll switch. So again, same thing, heel is on the floor, ball of the foot is on the ball, and you're spreading and scrunching. Breathing. And again, little side to side, so a little smearing. You might notice that your motor control is different side to side. My left foot is not necessarily as smart as my right foot, doesn't listen quite as well. Going into the arch, and a little side to side. And then forward and back. Bring the whole sole of your foot. Recognizing also that when we're doing the ball rolling and standing, it's also hip stability. It's also a little bit of a balance. If your balance is wonky, be near the wall, hold on to something, that's perfect. You're just gonna step back, step off. Gonna put the ball somewhere you're not gonna end up stepping on it. Just stand for a moment. If you're not lightheaded, close your eyes, take a moment and just observe what the feet feel, what's going on there. I'm gonna leave the feet alone for a moment and get you to make little fists with your hands. Try and straighten out your elbows a little bit. You can pick up your shoulders. You can draw a circle forward, down, and back. Forward, down, and back. And if you are able to do this exercise in front of a mirror, you want to watch that you're not bending your elbows. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now you're going to go the other way. You're going to go up, back, down, forward. Notice if you're a little crackly, if the shoulders are noisy. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let your hands relax. Now, you're just gonna pick your right arm up, and you can just like whatever. Just let the arm come up, back and around. You can let your ribs go. Make it almost like a little bit of a twist. Of course, we're looking for pain-free range of motion. So, I mean, if this range of motion isn't accessible to you, don't do it right now. Then go the other way. So up and around. Make sure that you're breathing. And then we're gonna switch, so other side. Again, you can let your ribs go with your arm. Twist a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. And go the other way. Just stand, but relax. Now, I need you to, and I'll just turn sideways so you can see, I want you to think about pulling the ball of your foot up off the floor. So your heel's staying on the floor, you're just flexing the ankle. As you hang out here, we might start to feel the front of the shin a little bit. The shin muscles creating the dorsiflexion. Previously, when we had the ball of the foot on the ball, we had a similar shape, and the foot is a little more passive because the ball was holding the foot up. And it's a little more active. You know, let that relax, and then switch sides. Just pulling the ball of the foot up off the floor. Balance might be different one side to the other, for sure. Feel your quads working, your kneecap will be lifted probably. It's perfectly fine. Bill's super chill today, just hanging out. And let that go. Now a little opposite shape with the foot. You can take all of your weight into one side, turn the other toes under, so a little top of the foot stretch. Just breathing. And then again, you're going to switch. So a little top of the foot stretch. When you're in your top of the foot stretch, something you might think about if you feel like it. So very often when we stand on one leg, you'll let the opposite hip drop. Think about pushing down through one side to keep your pelvis level. And again, it's not that there's anything wrong with this. It is not a bad movement. It's simply, if that's always how you balance, creating something that's a little different can increase your range of motion, can increase your strength. I'm going to step back, just stand. I'm going to get you to grab your resistance band. And if you don't have a resistance band at home and you do have a pair of nylons might work for this. I mean, it's not ideal, but it absolutely is a little bit stretchy, so it has more give than, say, a strap. So you're going to err on the side of starting wider as opposed to narrower. And again, if you can do this in front of the mirror, it might help. We're just going to bring the arms around, attempting to not bend the elbow. So if you can get around fairly easily without an elbow bend and the range of motion is pain-free, then you might instead go a little narrower. So narrower just adds a little more resistance. Trying to keep the elbows straight. Breathing quietly through your nose. You're going to bring your arms around behind you. You're going to turn your hands so your knuckles face forward. You're going to press out a little bit, kind of squeeze your shoulder blades together. And if you can do that without popping the ribs, you might. So you're pushing out. You're going to pull the arms back and forward. Just breathing. Hold back there a little bit. Back, let the hands turn, bring your arms up. So now your arms are going to be up, and in this one, now you can create a little back bend. So you can let your arms go behind you, you can let your ribs flare. There's something dangerous or bad about that situation. You're going to pull down with one arm and up with the other. If it's comfortable, you can start looking down, but then maybe think about looking up a little bit. So this would be a side bend kind of in the front body. You pick yourself up. Again, a little bit of a back bend, a little bit of an arch. You pull down, left hand up with the right. And again, it's a little bit of a side bend. Sort of focusing more on the front body. You pick yourself back up. Now you're gonna round a little bit. So you're gonna flex your upper back, still pressing out. You're gonna pull down with the right hand, up with the left. Now your side bend is more kind of in the back side body. You pick yourself back up, other way. Breathing through the nose, quietly, and relax the jaw. Or don't, feel free to hold as much tension as you need. You're gonna pick that back up. Now you're gonna draw a circle. So you're gonna go around and forward. Kind of let the rib cage go. And the movement can be as big or as little as works for you right now. Whatever that looks like. And then go the other way. He's going to come back up to center just for a moment. Set your resistance band down and stand. So again, you're just going to stand. If you're not lightheaded, close your eyes. Observe heart rate, respiration. How does this feel? I like to really notice the feeling in my hands. Using the resistance bands, a little bit like grip strength, little pulling strength. So you can feel that circulation in the hands. Now you're going to get your blocks. So whatever it is that you are gonna stand on, you're gonna stack them up in front of you and put whatever foot makes the most sense for you. So whatever side you think you're gonna have better balance on, just go ahead and step up that way. So what we're trying to do here first is balance. So first things first is, can I balance? You can put your toes down, pick them up as much as you need to. Once you've got your balance, you want to notice if you're swinging off to the side. So are you swiveling? So you're going to pull the standing hip back, trying to keep the floating hip square to the wall in front of you. Take your weight a little bit back into your heel. When we start to feel this, we kind of want to feel it in the standing side bum. So in your cheek. Just hanging out here. Now, if your balance is really good, if you're like, oh, I could do this all day long, you're gonna look up. And then you're gonna look straight ahead. And you're gonna look down. And so if you get good at that, kind of slowly, then you add a little bit more speed to it. Now, instead of looking up and down, you're gonna look left. You're gonna look right. And usually one way will be easier than the other. Find on this side, if I look right, it really throws me off. So hopefully we're feeling that standing hip. You're gonna step back, you're gonna step off. Just gonna stand for a moment. You're not lightheaded. Close your eyes. Observe the difference in your standing leg as opposed to the floating leg. And then you're gonna switch. Other foot on. Now, when you get on this side, we might notice balance is easier, balance is harder, everybody's a little different. Again, first thing is, can I balance? So maybe you have to put your toes down, pick them up a couple times, that's perfect. Then you're gonna observe, do I have more swing on one side than the other? You're gonna try and pull the standing hip back to keep the floating hip square. And kind of like I mentioned before, you want to notice if the floating side is really dropping. Can you keep the top of the pelvis level? And again, once you have your balance, once you feel pretty strong there, it's going to be, can I look up? Can I look down? Can I look up? Can I look down? If you get the hang of that, then it's, can I look right? Can I look left? Wobbling is perfect. Stepping off and starting over again is perfect. Do whatever you gotta do. Bring everything back. You're gonna step back, step off, just stand for a moment, take a little breath. Then you're gonna move your feet wider than your hips. If you were on a yoga mat, it might be mat width apart. I'm just gonna have a little side to side. So as you're shifting your hips side to side, you wanna think about keeping your chest still. So the sternum's not moving, it is just the pelvis. And as you go, you're gonna start to hinge forward. Now, very, very often, As you start to hinge, people are going to feel their low back. If you are a person, when you start to go into a forward bend, your low back doesn't feel great, I want you to take your hands around the bottom edge of your rib cage and think about breathing into your thumbs. So you're breathing into your back a little bit, and you're going to move forward as you inhale. So you move forward as you inhale, you pause as you exhale. I'm just going a little side to side. Sometimes moving on the inhalation with this awareness of the back ribs, of the mid back, can create some stability in the low back, making it easier to come forward. And in this particular hinge, I would love it if you tried to keep the arch in your back, so you're not allowing flexion to happen in the lumbar spine. Again, not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just not what we're doing right now. So a little side to side. You're going to come back up to center. It's going to come back up to center. Find your balance on one leg. You're going to reach back, see if you got a foot there. And you can use the wall for balance. That's perfect. Now, very often in this stretch, what you're going to notice, you can see my left knee is forward of my right knee. We're going to try and get the knees side by side. And you can see this, if I were to let my ribs go, it's easier for me to get my knee back. But then we're trying also to keep the ribs down, which is a challenge for me. Just breathing. Let that go. And then switch sides. So opposite leg. And same thing, use the wall if you need to. Trying to get our knees side by side, observing that rib flare often helps that, and then trying to correct for rib flare. Your balance will definitely be different one side to the other. Just breathing. And put that foot down. And just stand for a moment. Now again, a little bit of a balance. You're going to push down through one foot and pick the other knee up. So when we've got one hip in extension and one hip in flexion, very often what you'll do to accommodate that is bend the standing knee. What I want you to try and do is keep the standing knee straight as you bring the other leg up. So full hip extension on one side and as much flexion as you can get on the other side. You're going to hold that for a moment. And then you're going to see, can you leave that leg where it is? And same arm as standing leg, you're going to push up. Just breathing. You feel, maybe there's shaking. You might get a little cramp in that hip flexor there. You let that go. Take a breath. Notice other side. So same thing. Trying to keep the standing leg straight as you bring the other leg up. It's going to be different one side to the other. Once you got your leg wherever you can get it to, reach the left arm up, or the standing arm up. You just hold, breathe. And let that go. Just for a moment, stand. Take a breath. Notice. Now you're going to grab your resistance band again. Take one end in each hand. You're going to put the resistance band under your feet. Stand back up. Take a moment. The body get used to that little bit of resistance. And then you're going to pick your shoulders up, forward, down, back, just like we did before. 2, 3, no elbow bending. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now go the other way, go up, back, down, forward. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to go into a little bit of a chair pose. So in this chair pose, I want you to think about that ankle movement. So remember when we pulled our feet up off the floor, and then kind of the knee bend we had in the quad stretch, and then the hip flexion we had when we were doing that standing balance with the knee lifted. So you're gonna flex your ankles, knees, and hips at the same time while doing a bicep curl. So you're gonna pull down and push yourself back up. Pull down, push up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stand for a moment, take a breath. Notice. Now, push down through one leg, pick the other leg up, take that foot out. So balance might be easier, might be harder. You have something to hold on to. And you're gonna hinge. I'm not too concerned. You can bend the standing knee now. You can do whatever you want with that back leg. You're just hinging forward. It's kind of like a warrior 3 if you've done a lot of yoga. And in your warrior 3, we're gonna add a pull. So you're gonna bring your elbows together behind you and then down. Bring shoulder blades together, elbows up. Shoulder blades wide as the arm extends. 3, 4, 5. You stand back up. You're gonna switch sides. Same again. You find your balance. Stretch one leg back. The hinge is gonna be different side to side. You're not gonna be too fussy about that. You're just gonna find your balance. Same again. You pull and down. Pull and down. 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna step back, take that off. Just for a moment, stand. And you're not lightheaded, you close your eyes, you observe. Set your stuff aside. Just standing, feet comfortably apart. Little rolling forward bend. So now you are gonna let your spine flex. It's gonna be chin, shoulders, mid back, low back, hip hinge, soft knees, fingertips come to the floor. Just a little hanging forward bend. You might wobble a little side to side. You're gonna roll yourself all the way back up. Come all the way to the top. Take a breath. Same again. It's chin, shoulders, mid back, low back, hip hinge, soft knees, fingertips on the floor. Walk your hands forward a little bit. And then it's a little bit of weight in the hands, a little bit of weight in the feet. So a little bit of weight in the hands, a little bit in the feet. Take your weight back into your feet. Roll yourself all the way back up to standing. You get to the top and take a breath. Last time. Head, shoulders, mid back, low back, hip hinge, soft knees, fingertips come to the floor. You're gonna walk yourself forward and maybe get your dog out of the way. Yeah, go, Bill, get out of the way. So I'm gonna get you to come down onto your elbows and onto your belly. So we're gonna do a little planking here, because in the Hatha strength class, of course, we're trying to plank every week. So you could plank from your knees. So it could be here. Or you can plank from your toes. We're gonna hold for 30 seconds. So toes are turned under. You're gonna push your heels away. You're gonna come on up. We're gonna hold. Think about pulling your ribs up away from the floor. Think about pushing your heels away. Use your quads, use the front body to hold yourself up. Keep breathing. Just 10 more seconds. And then lower down. Take a breath. Hands come around. Forehead rests on the hands. You can pick yourself up. And you're going to choose one side or the other. So you put that elbow down. Legs are straight. So again, you could plank from your knees, both knees bent. Or you can have two straight legs. I'm going to get a little closer so I can see the time. You're going to push down through your feet. Pick yourself up. Lay the top arm down your side. Little side plank. 30 seconds here. Take one more breath. Lower down. Switching sides. Okay, get out of the way. So elbow under shoulder, legs are straight. Pick yourself up. I teach this sort of from the Vygotsky perspective, and in the Vygotsky method, that top arm's just relaxed down your side. You can do whatever you want with that top arm. Usually we will notice one side is harder than the other. Five more seconds. You lower down. Now, this last one, kind of the range of motion in the shoulders is a little tricky. Your feet are gonna be flexed. You're coming down onto your elbows. Most of us will find that if your feet are turned out, it's easier to access your glutes. That's not what we're doing. You wanna try and keep big toes touching, feet flexed. You're gonna push down and pick your hips up in 30 seconds here. In the first plank, you were using the front body to pick the back body up. Now you're using your back body to pick yourself up. Your head, put it wherever is comfortable. Breathing, keep holding. Lower down. And then you're just gonna lower yourself right down onto your back. Take a breath. You're about mat width apart again, slightly wider than your pelvis. Arms are a little bit away from the body. You're just gonna let the legs windshield wiper. So a little side to side. This time your legs go to the right. Just let them hang out there. The legs be heavy. If it would feel okay for your shoulders, you're just gonna reach your arms above your head and breathe. Pick your arms back up. Let your knees drop to the other side. Same thing, just hang out there for a moment. If it would feel okay for the shoulders, you're just gonna reach them up overhead. Do relax your jaw. Do soften your tongue. Bring your arms back forward. Bring your knees up. If Feet are going to be parallel and pelvis width apart. Arms are a little bit away from the body wherever they are comfortable. Little bit of pelvic tilting. You're going to push with your feet back flattens. Pull with your feet back arches. Push with your feet back flattens. Pull with your feet back arches. You're going to pull your pelvis into neutral and then slide your feet away. So you want to have 2 straight legs. Now, when you do that, if you notice, like me, your ribs really pop up, the arch in your back gets kind of somewhat ridiculous, you might put something under your head. Just help ease the tension. And then you're going to move your legs as far apart as they can go. And I like to imagine you're in a hallway that is exactly as wide as your feet can reach, and you are pushing your feet into that wall. And it's going to get into that same sort of glute med side bum area in our hip. You're just pushing out like crazy, sort of from the top of the hip, from the top of the pelvis down. You're working hard, and from the top of the pelvis up, you're as relaxed as you can be. Just really pushing out. Quads are working, kneecaps are lifted, feet are super flexed. It's holding, you're using your glutes, bum is working. Take one more breath here. You're just gonna let the legs relax, and you're gonna move your legs in a bit, kind of like whatever a comfortable distance is between your feet. You can continue to lay on your back. You could lay on your stomach. Today, I'm gonna put my legs up the wall. You might choose to put your legs up the wall. To do that, kind of get as close to the wall as you can. You swing your legs up. Arms are again a little bit away from the body. Just let yourself be a little bit relaxed here. Do let your back flatten. Let your feet relax. Simply begin to watch the breath. Every time you inhale, the body expands. Every time you exhale, the body settles. The soles of your feet are relaxed. And your ankles are relaxed. Your lower legs are relaxed. And your knees are relaxed. Your thighs are relaxed. And your hips are relaxed. Your low back is relaxed. And your middle back is relaxed. Your stomach is relaxed. And your chest is relaxed. Your fingers are relaxed. And the palms of your hands are relaxed. Your arms are heavy and relaxed. Your shoulders are relaxed. Your neck is long, your throat is soft. Your jaw is relaxed. Space between your teeth, softness in your tongue. Your lips are relaxed. Feeling the corners, the mouth dropping back to the floor beneath you. Your cheeks are relaxed. Little muscles around your eyes are relaxed. Eyelids resting softly. Feeling the corners, the eyes dropping back to the floor beneath you. forehead is smooth and relaxed. Your ears are relaxed. Your mind is relaxed. And your heart is relaxed. Lay in stillness for as long as feels comfortable for you today. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy.